The last F I will hold for myself, but let's say focus. Because it could be,
Could be fuck you.
it could be hands off the cake. Okay. That's a situation that you need to drop.
Have you ever felt like the script you're following doesn't quite fit anymore? Then you're in the right place. I'm Maricella Herrera, and I started Should I Just Quit My Job after walking away from a job I thought defined me. Forget the highlight reels. Here we talk about the messy middle, the doubts, the detours, and the chaos that come with rethinking who we are. Because the truth is, it was never just about quitting a job. It was about questioning everything I thought I knew. Hey everyone, welcome to Should I Just Quit My Job? I'm your host, Maricella Herrera. I'm really happy you're here with me today. It's Thanksgiving week as I am taping this intro, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. It's not something I'm used to celebrating as, growing up. But regardless of the history, and let's not get into that, I think the concept of gratitude and giving thanks is such an important one that having a holiday to remind us of that, it's great. So first off, thank you. I really do need to thank each and every one of you who listens in and continues to support my work and this podcast, which is a labor of love. If anything that I say in this podcast touches one person and helps you feel less alone and more inspired to choose the life that you want to live, then I've done what I set out to do. Thank you for being here and for letting me in to your lives and to your ears and for spending time with me every week. And in the spirit of gratitude, this episode is a little bit of a different one. It's a special episode where I sit down with my friend Jaqueline Oliveira-Cella, who you have heard from before on this podcast a while ago. I'll link to the episode in the show notes. Jackie is an actuary by training. She's had a long career in employee benefits at really big organizations. And for the last few years, she's been consulting and writing and doing research around the correlation of our health and some chronic illnesses and how those are affected by our work. Jackie created this methodology called SAFE. And SAFE stands for Set Intentions, Acknowledge Facts versus Emotions, Frame and Reframe, and Execute. It's a methodology for taking a pause and giving yourself some space to reflect. And in a conversation, I asked her, have you ever thought about creating a custom GPT out of this? And Jackie being Jackie, she, of course, did it. And now Safe, you can find it for free on ChatGPT. I'll put the link in the show notes. And I'll let her explain everything around what SAFE is, why she created it. We go into all of those things. The very special part of this episode is that this is the first time I have listeners call in. It's so exciting. I had asked people to send me voice notes with challenges they were facing at work because I wanted to try something new. And so from the recordings I got, I picked two. One that's a very, I would say, relatable situation that has to do with reorgs and layoffs, and another one that was very, very specific around relationships with new managers. So two very different scenarios, one very relatable, one very specific, but both of them interesting. So what we're doing in this episode is we're using those two scenarios with the listener voice notes to play around and test the tool Jackie created. It's definitely different from my usual mini-sodes and from my usual interviews. It's very impromptu, so you'll have to go with the flow. Highly recommend to try to take a peep at the video when we are talking about these user cases, because you will be able to see the screen where the GPT of Safe is showing the actual responses. I read some out loud so that you know what we're talking about as we dissect them, but it'll be easier for you to watch it on video. So you can find this on YouTube. If you're listening to Spotify, you should be able to see the video, and on my Substack as well. So there are places for you to go and look at the actual content in real time if that is what you choose to do. If not, I've made it so that podcasts still make sense because I know it's an audio first medium and I want to keep that going. I'm really, really excited because this is the first time where I really feel that listener love and that listener interaction. And it helps me remember that this is more than just me talking at you. This is a community that I hope we can build together, because just as my two listeners were going through something, we're all going through something. And I think we need more human connection. And if I can do something for that, I will. Maybe that'll be a little bit of a project for 2026. Who knows? Community of quitters, maybe? Anyway, this episode was recorded in early October. It was actually a really long recording. We taped for 2 hours, and I have taken out of this episode a very big chunk. And that is about me. Jackie had asked me initially, before I thought about the listener calls, to test Safe, and the podcast was supposed to be about that. And since I know Jackie well enough to know that most of the testing she was going to do was going to be around workplace, I decided to throw in a curveball and test Safe using the anxiety I was having about running the Chicago Marathon, because when we recorded it, it was about 2 weeks before I ran it. And there's a whole portion of the original recording about that test I did. But because the episode was so long, I figured let's keep this one just focused on the listener calls, what Safe is. And then next week's episode will be a little bit of a crossover between a normal, regular episode and a mini-sode. And you'll listen to my experience with Safe. So Jackie will still be on there. I'll put part of that. Plus my reflection about the marathon, which I haven't really gotten into yet. I haven't talked about how the race actually went. So I think I'm ready to do that. So this week we'll focus on work, and next week we'll continue the same conversation, just a little bit different. I would love to keep receiving listener calls and doing this more often, hearing from you, sharing your thoughts, sharing your stories, maybe dissecting a little bit of questions. So shoot me an email, quitmyjobpod@gmail.com, or even better, leave me a voice note. You can call me at 646-902-1426. Again, the phone number is 646-902-1426. I'll leave it in the show notes as well. Thank you again for listening. And as always, sending you lots of love. Have a really happy Thanksgiving. Let's go do my conversation with Jackie.
I'm just like thrilled to be here with you again and
I'm excited.
exploring how we can help others through this too.
I'm excited because everyone asks me about my last few years. How did you go through all this, or how did you do this? Or they call me like I want to quit, or I just lost my job. People would just come to me to want to talk about things. And I kept saying, I wish I could give them the things I've done and the things I've gone through that have made things a little clearer to me, because I've tried so many things and I've read so many things and I went through so many things. And I wish I could just download them and give them that so that they didn't have to do that. And in some ways, it feels like that's what you did.
Oh, thank you. I feel honored. So let me just pick back on what you have just mentioned, because first and foremost, no GPT, no technology replaces a conversation with a
Right.
friend. Getting help from a healthcare professional or a coach or whatever you need,
100%.
right? And while I'm very confident that this tool can help us to build that emotional awareness at moments that matter and uncloud our judgment, our bias, our way of thinking into something that can help us, that can be constructive, as opposed to toxic positivity. That's not it, right? It's grounded by evidence based science on behavior health, journaling, all the good stuff that I had to research for the past years. Since I think the click was on this last executive program that I spent a year going back and forth from Boston to here and whatnot, is that mind and body connection. And all these studies with health at work in people, more and more, like for someone that's not a healthcare professional by background, but I'm a data geek,
Mhm.
you see the correlation across chronic illness and mental health and things that we feel in our body that sometimes is accelerated, right? If you start paying attention to your body, you will see when your mind is running with
Mhm.
so many things at once. We are just talking before we joined about, okay, I have so many things to juggle, to handle. How can I pause, create that moment of pause to help me see things and act with clarity? So that's the purpose of SAFE.
What is safe, if, in your own words, so that people understand
Okay.
what we're talking about?
So SAFE literally stands for set your intentions, your goals. What do you want to gain out of journaling? Is it clarity? Is it building better relationships? Is it having a tough conversation with your boss? Is it having a tough conversation with, or a pleasant conversation, a constructive feed forward with your direct report, whatever that is? But you set your intentions and keep that saved with you as you are going down into what is really happening here. What is a fact? A for acknowledge facts versus emotions. You allow space for you to really understand what's going on. And other than that, sometimes you are carrying the load of all the lived experiences you have had. You're projecting to a new situation that maybe does not fit that same trauma. Usually, like you, we tend to go towards the negative, then the positive. So sometimes it's like being aware of your patterns and whether or not you are repeating something that has happened in the past in a situation that no longer fits the mold. Then you move to F. Okay, here, frame, reframe, and the last F I will hold for myself, but let's say focus. Because it could be
It could be fuck you.
it could be hands off the cake. Okay, it's no longer, that's a situation that you need to drop.
Yeah.
And it has happened, like with not just myself, but many others that I talk to. You get obsessed.
I will say too, that's actually a really important thing to know and to realize. And I think a lot of the times we have a very hard time with letting go of things
Yeah, particularly when you put your whole, like how they say, your efforts, your heart, your sleep nights, and whatnot into something, you're like, oh no, maybe there is another way to get it done. And for what purpose? If it's not being valued, if it's no longer a priority, take your losses and go.
Fuck
And
that.
that's the power of that's the power of failing, but know how to fail quickly and then move on.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
And it's all part of that frame reframing and else. And then the last one is okay, you did your homework, you took time to reflect, to think about all the stakeholders that are around you. Keep the no harm principle. Don't be naive, right? You are also not a rug for people to step on
Mm-hmm.
you at all times. But it just keep your mind open. You never know what's going on with the others, right, around you. Give the benefit of the doubt. Be curious. And then act. That's the last. It's like execute. Evaluate and execute next steps. So, with the whole process of, I know what I want to get out of this, I understand a little better, I'm more emotional aware of what's going on. Then I move into let's deep thinking to how to reframe the situation into something that will help myself and others. And then you act, right? And then it's not just about reflection without action, it's you act. You take one step forward to mitigate whatever is messing up with you, like whatever you're trying to solve for. I have so many, particularly the business oriented friends, who is this serving? And I said, it could serve the CEO of a company, but it could also serve a father that's having a hard time with their kids having a mental breakdown
Mm-hmm.
and jumping off like college, how to handle that. Or like you have just lost someone. Again, technology never replaces a conversation with a friend. But if you need that pause by yourself, you have a space to do that. And if you cannot just do with pencil on paper, maybe you can have the prompts helping you to really think the problem through.
It's very clear from what you explained what the process is. But it is a methodology, right? Like it's something that you created with a framework you created through all the research you did. And I do want to know why you started down that research and down that path, because of course I want to know that. But I also want to know, you just mentioned technology, because journaling and doing deep thinking and this type of more emotional work before was not something you usually thought necessarily with technology. I think more and more we're thinking about it as something that can be augmented by technology.
The why of safe. I've had my own seasons of feeling invisible or overwhelmed or having emotions clouding my intelligence. And whether as a female working in on insurance and pensions and employee benefits or caregiver or cherry on top, I'm like, I've been an immigrant in a country that I love for the last almost 20 years and in boardrooms. So it's that all those lived experiences that you pass through, and you realize that creating that space for you to be aware of what's the situation that you are managing and reframing constructively and acting upon it. That's like safe was my way to pause and not let the moment define me anymore. That's stopped. And those triggers, either if it's something thrilling and positive or something that's related to a toxic environment, there is so much to unpack on those scenes. And if you let the moment define you, define your intelligence, nothing good comes out of frustration and anger. That's like my 2 cents. Now, Switching to technology. I remember I was part of a program last year. It was a pretty intense program where journaling was a daily requirement to help you become emotionally aware of what's going on with you. So there was like a diligence of doing that. And again, for 40 weekends, because the classes were over the weekend. And that exercise, in the very beginning, it was so hard, so mechanical. It's when I asked my son to journal because I got him into it, and we can talk about that in on another segment. But it's not like I had hamburger for lunch, or I did this, I did that. It's more about what is that journal that will really unpack how I was feeling at that moment, who was around me, what happened, or who helped, and what did not. And for that, you need to know which questions to ask. And if you don't have someone to hold your hand and help you through that, sometimes the technology, at least the way I created Safe, is to help you deep thinking, not think for you, but to actually build the questions aligned with the method, grounded by science and compassionate leadership and boundless leadership and growth-minded leadership. What are the questions that you should be asking at that particular situation? Customize it to your reality, who you are, what life stage, what are the cultural background, that's what's going on with you, in a way that will help you to pause, relate, and then deep think. And that's, if you don't have, again, someone with you, the technology can help you with those. The technology that was created. That's, I think, the best part of Safe, is like helping you to deep think and maybe see your blind spots. It's not just about me. It's not about, it could be about others, right? And sometimes we are too much on our heads. So that's where technology is really empowering. Safe was created with the intent of helping others to build better relationships, create a moment of pause. The version that I have placed on ChatGPT is free of charge. It's there for people to use, and give feedback, please, because I have no access to user data. Is my pay forward. That's what brings me a lot of joy, is every time I get a friend telling me how Safe has helped them with something that they're going through and they were having difficulty to reflect by themselves.
So I wanted to mention the AI and technology, and you mentioned it earlier about it help you to deep think. The word I said was augment. And I want to bring this up because it's something that I've seen in class, particularly with my students. Like I see this all the time where everyone thinks AI can just do for you everything, which is fine. It's a
Yep.
shortcut. It's a tool. It can do a lot of things. But the real benefit of it is how it makes you think differently, or how it can you can tell it what you're going down, or even in brainstorming. A lot of what you're saying is very design thinking in a way. Like you can start with something and then it comes up with what's the real problem in here, and how do you actually look at that in a better way. And I've been going on a crusade of can we get people, students in my class, and now I'm working with nonprofits on this too, to look at AI adoption in a way that adds to critical thinking and not just as a shortcut. So that was my little 2 cents on that.
No, I love it. And that's it. Otherwise, you will be on a receiving end of knowledge and technology that sometimes you do need to question and validate.
Exactly.
And if you're not trained to question and validate and think for yourself, you're going to have to continue to enhance the concentration of wealth in the hands of few, the ones that are developing all those brilliant tools and technology. And you may be the one that will no longer have a space to create.
I was listening on a podcast and there are these guys talking about AI, and it's like, okay, so the Industrial Revolution took like our physical labor. Like it took a lot of the things that we did physically, like plow fields, assembly lines, all these things, and moved it to machines. And then you had the tech revolution, who took a lot of our thinking, and AI is taking a lot of our thinking. And it's likely going to be, just as machines might be stronger and more efficient than us, AI is going to probably do more thinking, computing, all of these things faster and better than us. So the thing we're left with is really the emotional part. And that we need to harness it in a better way, so that, because that's going to be the differentiator in many ways, how you actually connect with humans, build that trust, do all of these other things.
There are plenty of research, body of research. I think the one that I really appreciate is a longitudinal study from I believe it's from Harvard, and Dr. Robert Waldinger wrote a book. What are the drivers of happiness or of having a good life? And correlated that even with quality of health, physical health. And your connectivity with others was there, having meaningful connections. So was the study on loneliness, right? So just showcasing how important it is that we build connections. There is also studies that, like the brain health book, that was one of Dr. Sanjay Gupta's book on brain health, where one of the pillars of brain health is really building meaningful connections with others. But I would challenge that there is more to the emotional side that will be left for us. You can play as much as you want with ChatGPT. It can help you to bring things together, but the human is the one having the aha, this makes sense. For example, for your students, I think it's an interesting way for them to read, and let's say that they have 15 papers to read through and find patterns and find the links between different topics. AI can help to get some of those insights, but from that moment, you need to build your own conclusions on whether or not that makes sense or not. The other day, a friend of mine, now I bring to employee benefits, that's the realm that I'm in, culture, employee benefits, health, retirement, and whatnot. And a friend of mine was saying, oh, such and such were not able to find this particular research and this particular statistic or this particular knowledge about, I think it was a retirement program. I said, how did they ask the question? How was the question asked? So even to play with AI, you need to know what questions to ask.
Yeah.
Because depending on how you're asking the question, it's going to agree with you. There is a very funny South Park episode on that. You don't need a cheerleader. Sometimes you need someone to really help you to see beyond what you can see, uncover your blind spots. So that could be also like a good use. It's funny, the younger generation, I have a teenager who has mixed feelings about using AI.
Oh, interesting.
Which is good, which
I
is
think
really
that's
good.
great.
Knowing that the best use that she can have for AI is to, okay, you can do some research like we use it, like Google now is also very powerful. And I learned recently, a research on Google is 10 times less, drives 10 times less energy. I need to fact check that. So maybe that's something for you, Maricella. Less energy than talking about sustainability than ChatGPT and alike, right? So that's something else to keep in mind. But the point is, hopefully this new generation will figure out a way, and the teachers, right? Figure out a way to use the technology to expand thinking.
I hope so. So I had these two voice notes. Both are work related situations. They're not as specific as like a meeting or a scenario, but they're both true things that people are going through at work. So I thought it would be fun to play them and run a safe. And I can share the screen so you can see it.
I've been working at my current company for just over 3 years. And over the course of these 3 years, it's a large corporation. We've undergone a number of different reorgs and transitions, just based on business needs. But more recently, we had another really big reorg where our group is getting acquired by another group. I have never worked with this group before or anyone on our team. She has over 1,000 employees. And I'm anxious and scared because I don't know whether or not there will be a need for my role and what that means in terms of what I should be preparing for going forward. Like, do I need to update my resume? Should I be networking with them? Currently, the leadership teams are having lots of meetings together to discuss the operating model. And those things are above my pay grade and out of my control. So depending on where they land with that, it could impact my future with my current organization.
Okay.
I love that story because it's real and it's happening with so many people. Whoever was on your audience that shared their story, please share some gratitude.
Yeah, I'm very thankful that they did share it because I do think this might help a lot of people. Like you said, a lot of people are going through this. It's been transcribed over here. Do I have to say, can you at the beginning help me go through
No,
a safe cycle or just give it the
just go
dump?
for it. Just
Okay.
dump. There we go.
So from that call, your stated goals are reduce anxiety about job security, gain clarity on what is within your control, decide how to prepare wisely, resume updates, networking, and role positioning, which is clarifying what she said. Facts. You've been with the company for 3 years. Multiple reorgs have happened during your tenure. Your group is being acquired by a larger team with over 1,000 employees. Decisions about the new operating model are happening at senior leadership levels outside of your control.
Of course, it's us looking at an output versus the user, right? Because it's like the facts and emotions, it's just reporting to what it is, what you have shared. It's for the user just pausing to figure out what is really my goal here. Is it find another job or find a job within my company or get clarity, whatever that is? So the user would actually pause on, all right, where am I here? And then maybe share that with the GPT.
We can also make assumptions, right? Just for the purposes of the exercises, that it's gain clarity on what is within your control. And to be fair, this is something I liked when I did my own, that when you just dump, like you said, like a data dump, your feelings and your facts are all mixed up. They're all mixed in. Yeah. And that's how we work as humans. So like I said, I've been through therapy for a long time. And a lot of the things that I remind myself all the time is feelings aren't facts. But it's hard to remind yourself of that at every single moment.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this frame and reframe?
So maybe let's just start from the beginning. As you go through, what's your goal? It's anxiety about job security. You will need to figure out what you prioritize with gain clarity. And I love that because there are things that are under our control. That's what we can operate. You can influence others, but you need to understand what's under your control versus else. In this particular case, she mentioned that there are parts of the company that are being reorganized, restructured. That may not be under her control. what's under her control is what she does about it. If she sits and waits and just feeling anxious about it, it may not help her as much as taking those micro steps. And I love the third because it moves us into clarity to how to prepare for that. Right? If you are aiming to move away from the company, if you cannot find a job within that particular company, then maybe you have some very tactical steps to get into. I love the networking and the role positioning. If she loves the company, if she loves the culture, I would even say role positioning could be an interesting way to approach. And then you need to network a lot to understand, is there a space for you somewhere, right? Before you are told that you are out.
Yeah.
Let me put it like that.
Whole idea of acknowledging facts and emotions. There were a lot of both of those in just a little voice note that we had. But they're always mixed. And facts are not feelings and feelings are not facts.
And for example, she did not mention hope or agency
At all.
and now,
No.
yeah.
But you can tell.
There it was. Yeah, exactly.
Which for me, in my own case with the marathon, it also gave me hope, I believe. And that was also one that I hadn't thought about or mentioned. And when it mentioned it more specifically, it was around like how I have a secret goal that I haven't even shared with anyone. And it is hope.
I think it's Jen Fisher that's coming out with a new book focused on hope. And not to quote some of the Star Wars or whatnot geek stuff, it's like hope is what actually moves you forward as a human being. You have not just the hope propelling you to take action. And we all do need a lot of hope with everything that's going on.
Especially now.
I love it. And then I love the curiosity prompt. Hopefully she will love it. And again, it's tricky. I'm like feeling a little awkward here because I'm dissecting someone's situation. But if I was on her shoes, that's what I'm trying to put myself. Those are the things that could help me to reframe. And that's my favorite part is the reframing and the deep thinking. I can choose like, this is happening to me. Shift. You own it. You are it. I can choose what actions that will strengthen my confidence and my options.
And for listeners, the curiosity prompt says, what might leadership be prioritizing right now? Efficiency, cost savings, retaining talent? How could I align myself with those needs without overextending? Yeah, I have with the frame and reframe, I do have a little bit of it's not issue, but I would like it to be a little bit deeper because I understand these reframes to me are not as mind blowing, but I think it, like you said, it depends on how you are interacting. Like probably she would have given it different information or probably she would have given it more information.
Or she just needs that simple reframe because I don't know what's in her head.
Right.
It's like sometimes what you have in your head is this big and could be simplified to, I think she gave network feels like mechanic, political. Well, you need to build relationships. People need to know you. And then to your point, what is networking that's really valuable? It's not just introducing yourself and sharing. It's about building that bridge that also helps the others. So yeah, you can go deeper and look at the micro actions. Let's
this actually, I will say, I did really like the fact that it gave you a curiosity prompt. When I did it step by step, it didn't do that to me. The micro actions, let's see. Build bridges, not just safety nets. You know what I like about the way that it gives the evaluate and execute? It's something really simple, but I really like that it gives those little headlines because those are things you can remember when you're out there and doing stuff. She can be networking and doing the chats and then remind herself, okay, I'm building bridges, not safety nets. I'm doing this because it's going to build something.
Even the telling a story is you have the word collaboration,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right? You have strategic and tactical steps that you can take. And the collaboration is you can share your story, but also you can be curious about what's going on with others around you, even the people that you're networking with. You never know, you are never alone. There is always someone
Mm-hmm.
going through something that's just human. And you can build a bridge that's less transactional. You can build a bridge that actually can go beyond companies that you are working for. For everybody, this output, and that's how it should be, is different. I love the rituals. I
Yeah,
love
me
that.
too. I really like that. And
Whatever
and
that makes sense for the person,
and I
right?
think it will, because it just it shifts, right? Like it's not just about I need to get my networking and my LinkedIn and my resume. It's more about how do I also work on the inner stuff that I need to do to be ready for a big
And
moment of change. And for the listener, what we're talking here when we're talking about rituals is the third micro action that SAFE shared for this user. And it says invest in resilience rituals. Ground yourself daily with a short practice, journaling, breath work, or a wins list. Evidence shows expressive journaling reduces stress and improves clarity. This ensures you show up calmer and clearer in uncertain conversations. And it gives this person also a key reminder after the whole cycle. You cannot control corporate decisions, but you can control how you prepare, how you're perceived, and how you protect your own mental fitness. So, this was an example. Do you want to try another one? I have another one.
all right, let's try. Now, can you imagine if you're building safe for a company, if you can add what's relevant, ways of working, and what's relevant
Mm-hmm.
for the company, mission, vision, and strategy, then you personalize even further, particularly for the for employees who do want to see evolution.
I wonder how that works for something like this case. So, for example, if at her company SAFE was introduced, I don't know that she would be able to. I guess that goes back to the privacy and situation, right? Like, how much of it can you be open and honest with something at your company?
So her company should make sure that they have
Yeah,
no
that people,
access to user data, and
right?
that
That
should be
people,
upfront.
yeah, that people feel safe, no pun intended, to actually use the thing in that way because it would be cool.
And to be honest, I will put my humble hat here. I don't think companies should be, even if you have a GPT like that, that companies should ever have access
I
to
agree.
what you're sharing.
I agree.
Right? And that's there is nothing for them to learn about it because during a restructuring, obviously the sentiments could be fear, excitement, hopelessness.
I think it's the aspect of making sure that the person feels the trust because I agree that they should not have access to any of
Absolutely.
that information. Okay, I'm going to try this one. Let's see if it works.
All right.
I think right now the situation I'm dealing with is that I have a new manager, and the way the new manager was introduced to the team, he's meeting with the team first before his direct reports. And I think it's making me feel a little unsteady, even though I should trust everyone on my team. It just feels weird to not have an introduction to my boss. And so, how you navigate that in terms of getting information across without necessarily having a meeting and thinking through the best way to introduce yourself, given there isn't necessarily the most straightforward formal channel or that an introduction's been set up. So I think I'm feeling just that I need to be really thoughtful about my communications and what type of communications I need to be relaying, how not to overload this person with information, but also not to be absent, and what's the best path forward to work with someone who you will meet for, over a week, even though it's virtually, and know that he's gaining information from other people.
Well, let's say around this one, I is like you put your consulting mindset and you're already like full of there are red flags there.
I know. I thought the same thing when I heard it. I'm like, oh boy.
All right, let's check what safe tell
That's why I
us.
wanted to do this one too, because I think the other one is very relatable that a lot of people are going through. So I picked these two
Oh,
to see
yeah.
what.
Relationship with managers is a big deal,
Yeah.
ain't it? I think top three of people leaving the company.
Yeah. I believe people leave managers, not jobs. Driving
No.
makes
And the data is telling you not just we believe. It's like that's
right.
when people are exiting, it's like relationship with others is top three.
And here it says research on work environments.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Let's see what it says. Set intentions. Intention could sound like I want to introduce myself in a way that feels authentic, clear, and respectful of his process of learning the team.
Oh, I love that.
It's so interesting that it already gives from what she said, which is true. Like she wants to be seen like this. That's if you go deeper into like her words, that's what she wants. It's interesting how this is so different from the other one, in which it gave you something more succinct versus the other one had like more bullet points. Because I think in the other one, it was clear she had more
Right
layers. Like,
to
I want to,
unpack.
right. Like, I want to see if I should go work on my resume or do these other things versus here is I'm in the middle of this shit show. So what do I do?
Maybe she should share safe with her people manager. Say, hey, I have a new leadership tool that may help us to communicate better and be the best version of ourselves.
Let's see. Facts and emotions. What do you think?
Yeah, it's so true, right? Don't we, how many times when you're networking or I was just on this, I was invited to join a brain health summit. And yes, you feel awkward. You don't know how to approach people that do not know you, do not know your story, what you are capable of, and how to build that story. So I love that.
This I liked. Neutral and clear. Awareness that this is temporary and the meeting is coming soon.
That's it.
Because it reassures you too that, okay, she is already separating all of her emotions from these facts. This is a fact. The meeting will come. She will meet this
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. And then we will see on the actions. I'm hoping
Yeah.
something on that. But let's see the refrain. Anything that would ring a bell for me. I actually love the second one. Oh, I love both. It's yes, you are not missing out because you're being intentional about what you would like. And it's the second is move from the me, and let's think about what could be going on with this particular different management style.
I actually like these two because she says, if I remember correctly from her note, she says, I know I should trust my team. And this is part of it too. Like it's bringing not just the first impression you're going to make, but how you show up based on that trust. I feel like there's something there that's different. Curiosity lens. What might be going on for him? I would have liked to see also a little bit of curiosity on her team.
Look at the second one.
Oh, that's a very interesting one.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not about different layers. On today's world, they are trying to break down with hierarchies, and let's see how the team is functioning.
Yeah. I want to read out
love
loud the second one we're talking about just because this is a podcast. So if people are not looking at it,
Right.
it would say the second one we're talking about is could this be his way of building fairness, seeing the group before focusing on hierarchy, which, like you mentioned, Jackie, it's a very different way of seeing things. Now evaluate and execute.
Don't you love? It's like, even if, whatever that is, it's welcome to the company, right? Because it's also new to him. It's new for the team to have a new manager, but it's also new for him to be with this team. And you will find your own words, right? I
Right.
always say don't just take whatever comes from AI at face value, add your own authenticity to it.
Yeah. How do you see the two, one and two being different? The micro actions are one, draft a short, warm introductory note, 2 to 3 sentences. And it gives you an example. Hi, manager, welcome aboard. I'm looking forward to working together. I'm your name, focused on key responsibility. I know we're scheduled to meet soon, but please let me know if there's any context I can share ahead of time. Tone, warm, concise, professional. Signals availability without oversharing. The second micro action says prepare your intro snapshot. And it suggests writing a 3 bullet overview, your role and key responsibilities, one current priority or project, a sentence on what excites you about working with him and the team. This keeps your first conversation focused and prevents overloading. And then the third one is observe and listen this week. Take notes on how he interacts with the team. Journaling, as research shows, helps capture both facts and feelings so you're grounded when you meet.
So the first is just, here I am. Welcome
Say
to the
hi.
company. Say hi. The second is, if you have the opportunity to introduce yourself, hopefully in person, you will be able to give a little bit more of meat about who you were. Like if you blend the one and two, perhaps you can sound like a long,
Massive.
massive email. The person may just look at that and say, hey, too much, TMI. Let's pause for a minute. The second for me, it could be even a conversation, to be honest. It's like the delivery method needs to be with her. And if it's going to be an email, perhaps it could be the second email as a response,
Yeah.
right, to him. It just, I think the number one is make it short, make it simple. It's welcome, here I am, let's talk. Something on those lines. And then I love the three, which
Mm-hmm.
is something that's hard to do, right? Have the patience. Actually, it's not that you're not acting, you are taking the steps, but also let's see, let's observe, pause, listen. And then instead of reacting, and then you can add like your value and understand where the company is going to move, right, with this under new management. Just earlier today, someone that I deeply respect said there is new management, and whatever it's happening, the person is considering jumping ship. And I said, let's have a chat. The grass is not necessarily greener on the neighbor's yard. What's going on? Right. And it could be just how the management is coming across,
Mm-hmm.
particularly when there are cultural differences.
Yeah.
Be curious. I always say be curious. It's just like new management, new rules, new opportunities to build connections. That's the point. And sometimes when you are in the middle of the storm, you cannot see it.
Yeah.
That's how important it is. Find your tribe, connect with them. If you don't want to talk to, if you need that moment for self, and you need a little bit more of take my blindness away from me, perhaps safe could help you.
Yeah. Something I just thought of as I was looking at this is none of these, except the first one about taking notes and noticing, which I think is very important, mention the team. Because I think when you're in a situation like this, if you are not being very thoughtful, you can very easily jump into, can I go ask someone about the situation? How was it? How did it go? Or ask him, like, oh, and this is very much
Gossiping and
exactly, which is not going to help
and
anyone.
getting into a freaking rabbit row.
Right.
We
It's not going
all
to help
know that
everyone.
everybody. Yeah, so when you are a little, I would say that would be a wonderful next step, because once you are centered, again, you have control over yourself. Once you're centered, you're able to establish yourself. Make sure that you don't miss out in building relationships with your team.
Sorry, I had to ask it. I asked if I should talk to my team, and I wanted to know what it's going to say.
There we go. See, it's focused first on you,
Hmm.
and what you can do. And now I'm glad, like, because this is impromptu, I have no say here.
Which, as this is how these tools are. That's the beauty of AI. What characterizes AI is that it's going to learn from itself. It keeps learning and learning.
And it's following the method,
Yep.
right? It's like it's true to the method, and more important piece of it, it's tailoring to what that particular user may need to hear. I'm
Yep.
loving this.
I really like this response. Instead of thinking I need to process this with the team, which I think if you are someone who's extremely collaborative and close with your people, you might actually go there from a good place, not necessarily from a bad place, but from a good place. Consider I need to show up steady with the team and I can process my uncertainty in a safer space.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's lovely. And you can carry on or just pause and get to work.
Exactly.
No AI tool is going to do the work for you.
No.
You gotta do it. You
That is
gotta
for
do it
sure.
now. It's take off and go get the work done.
That is
So
for
this
sure.
was lovely. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
my friend, for testing, for bringing, like going an extra mile and get listeners' feedback. You have no idea how my energy tank is filled with
I'm
it.
so glad. I just want to say thank you for building this. I think it's a tool that will help people. So thank you. I'm going to make sure to share it and I'm going to put it in the show notes as well. And I'm curious. I actually had fun doing this and looking at these things with you. So if anyone wants to send in something, I'd love to do another one of these if people
Fun,
want.
right?
I don't know. I
Yes,
have a feeling.
absolutely.
I have a feeling it could be a fun little segment to do.
Yes, yes. And I truly believe this can help creating safe, not just as an acronym, not just as a method, but what's really at the heart is about pausing and really thinking deeply about what's happening with you. You start with a data dump. That's your way of journaling. Great, but what comes next? Just doing the journaling can alleviate some of what's on your mind. But then if your state of mind allows for, let's go through understanding what's going on. It's separating facts and emotions, coming into those micro actions that you get you one step further to accomplish whatever goals you have set up front. Sometimes the bravest thing that we do is to call a friend or sit with a coach or really reach out to a healthcare professional and say, I can't do this alone.
Yeah.
That's fair and square. Safe should just help you to get to that truth like faster, whatever that
100%.
is.
Yeah. Thank you, Jackie. I have a question that you may not have an answer for me, but what do you envision for this in the future?
So I envision, number one, that people will benefit from it, that I will be able to get a lot of good feed forward because I have no way to see data. We have just launched this tool and I have over 100 chats, right? So the idea is let's scale, let's help having people being helped. That's step number one. Then one avenue, companies are spending millions on mental health, on coaching, as they should, or leadership training. This could be a simple way to get that pause in moments that really matter. And the output of it, can you imagine if all that what we tested like today and by ourselves were really in practice? How the statistics on people suffering like at work could change? How you could influenciate how people work with each other? It's just like very rich. It cannot just be words on a paper or words on your computer or your phone. The beauty is you create the habit of thinking differently and questioning yourself and being curious. That's what human beings should be about. It's like questioning when it's needed, and then going after it, getting to action. That's it. And thank you for sharing. I am so in awe of you on your marathon, and I will be cheering for you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll come back and share how it goes. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for being here.
Yay!
That's it for today. Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if it made you think, feel something, or yell same out loud, leave a quick rating or review. It really helps. If you didn't like it, just pretend this never happened. You can also subscribe on Substack for updates and extras. I'd love to hear from you. Come say hi on Instagram at quitmyjobpod or email me at quitmyjobpod@gmail.com. See you next time.